So I'm so happy to have you here. This is so exciting. I feel like I've been trying to get you at the studio for a while, but I feel like it's also been my fault too.
You canceled, I canceled, then baby came.
I know.
And then I commented
On the
on
video.
one of your things like, "Hello?"
So you own how many studios do you own right now?
I own 2, but I sold 3, and
Okay.
they're still under the
For those that don't know, Paul is like a
same name.
what is your title?
Title is Soke,
Soke.
Soke, which means, like, headmaster, head of family,
Okay.
principal,
Is that like is it Chinese or
Japanese.
Japanese? Japanese. Okay. That's cool. So you're okay. How do you get that? How many years have you been doing karate? Like give me your whole bio.
So, I grew up in Winthrop, and there was a small community center run by a family.
Mhm.
And a friend of mine said, "Hey, why don't you come and take a karate class? I've just started karate." And I'm like, "Okay." So I took one class and I said, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And I loved it. I think I was 12 or 12 years
Mhm.
old. And so then what I wanted to do is pursue it in a more formalized atmosphere.
Mhm.
So I enrolled in a program in East Boston where I remained for 2 years, and then I ended up going to Malden Catholic High School from Winthrop, so I transferred to
Mhm.
another martial arts studio
Just pull your mic a little bit
in
closer to you.
Everett
There you go.
in Everett. Um, so I trained through high school for those 4 years, and then I went off to Boston College, and what I would do is I would come back during the week
Mhm.
or on weekends and continue my training through college, and I really haven't stopped since.
Is karate something that you can get, like, college scholarships for?
I'm not sure locally if, in this area that they have actual scholarships for karate because 'cause they're mostly club
Oh,
in
okay.
different
It's
eh,
like a private thing versus,
yeah,
like,
so
something.
there's clubs, like, when I was at Boston College, I did the karate club and stuff like that, but I don't believe in this area that from a formal
Mhm.
standpoint, scholarship-wise. Yeah. No.
'Cause I feel like some parents are like, "I want my kids to do a sport they can get a scholarship for." You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's nice, especially with the cost of education at this
Yeah.
point, right?
But I think, like, karate offers you something and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it offers you way more than what, like, playing soccer is gonna teach you.
Well, I think all sports, all of the things that we do, whether it be kids or on the high school or collegiate or pro level, is great in so many different ways. But I just think that martial arts in general, as a industry, I would say, just has not done a good job in getting out to the general public what the benefits are
Mhm.
because if taught like anything else properly, the benefits are just immeasurable, immeasurable. And I'm going on, so I'm 62 now. I've been doing this for 49 and a half years.
That's wild.
And I have the same passion now that I did when I was a teenager. It's helped me personally in my life and in my children's life. It's just amazing.
That's awesome. And you've owned the studios, but you weren't always doing this. You have another career that you've done
So
too.
yeah, right out of college, but 1 year out of college, I entered the Massachusetts Probation Service, and I was a probation officer for 32 years. Um, The last several years, I was a chief probation officer. I was always in the Malden District Court. I loved it. I started out as a juvenile probation
Mhm.
officer, and I loved working with children and helping kids go through the struggles that they were having. And then after 10 years, I transferred into the adult department, working with adult offenders, male, female, people from all walks of life. It was just an amazing experience, something that I'll never forget. But that, for most of my adult life, has been in probation, and I also have a love for the law. My father was an attorney for
Oh, really
55.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that.
My father was an attorney for 55 years, and I grew up with the law, and just want and working in the court system. I loved going into court and presenting cases, so I decided to go to law school at night. So I went 4 years at night while working full time as a probation
And
officer
doing karate.
and doing karate.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I passed the bar in 1995. I didn't practice because it was considered a conflict of interest while working in the probation field.
Mhm.
So I never did that, but my license, I still have my license. It's active. It's something that I always learned. And my mother, God rest her soul, used to say, "Hey, Paul, don't put all your eggs in one basket." Right.
Yeah.
So I was working in probation. I went to law school, got my real estate license.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Did you
did
like real estate law? Like, what type of law would you like
I like
criminal?
criminal law
Yeah,
because I was in the
probation.
district court. I was mainly dealing with criminal cases, so
Mhm.
I would do the probation surrender violation hearings. We're presenting evidence and doing all that. So my passion was really criminal.
Do you think that you would go back to doing that with, like, the crimes that there are today? I feel like back in '95, like, back then, it was a lot different than it is now.
Yeah, I mean, when I started in 1986, actually.
Oh, excuse me. I wasn't born yet.
Long time, through 2018, there was a huge evolution, you know? So when I started out, it was mainly, stolen motor vehicles, and I'm not making light of any type of crime, but stolen motor vehicles, more property type of things. And then you saw the big evolution of, infiltration of drugs, and alcohol, and that whole kind of time period where it was mainly drug and alcohol related offenses. Of course, those were underlying issues for other crimes too, but
Yeah.
also issues in and of themselves. And then the drugs just got more potent, and you saw some really sad scenarios. And when I mentioned before about walks of life, it doesn't matter who you are, what your family did,
Mhm.
how much money you had, if you were addicted to drugs and things like that. It affects everybody. So we'd go through that, and then you saw the onset of violence against people. And again, not to undermine and say that drugs and alcohol weren't a part of that, but the types of crimes became more violent.
Do you think it was because people took things more personally? So, like, but back in the beginning, it was like, oh, no, I don't wanna say petty crime because it wasn't like it was so bad,
Yeah, yeah.
but it wasn't people weren't taking, like, offense to whatever was happening as bad as maybe by the end of your career it was? So they were, like, retaliating?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And it was like, and you'll remember that, there was a whole shift of like domestic violence stuff
Mhm.
going on. Restraining orders were through the roof. And then that kind of subsided, and then it became more like random violence. And if we had the answer for that, and I'm sure there's numerous studies on that, but if we had the answer of what and why,
Like, what
would
changed?
would be in a different place,
It's just interesting the evolution of, like, how the
No,
crime has changed. Do you know what I mean?
crime is
From, like,
yeah.
not that stealing cars is good, but, like, stealing a car is not as bad as, like, shooting up a church. Do you know what I mean?
Well, which just recently
Yeah.
happened, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to look back at like what are the triggers, and I really haven't. I saw that on the news over the weekend, and this stuff about there was a veteran.
Yeah.
I mean, that raises a whole host of issues,
Well, I think
right?
the bottom line in all of it, a lot of it has to do with mental health, especially with, drug related things too. A lot of it has to do with mental health. And I think
Mental
that we
health.
really dropped the ball with that.
Oh, 100%. And a lot of this, when all of the facilities were closed for funding, couple of decades ago, and people were just released, the amount of services, even when I was working, in probation, the services were the most difficult aspect of the job, right? So now we're talking about a society that is devoid of those services and the
Mhm.
complexity of issues that are confronting us in the world today as opposed to before. When
Mhm.
you'd let your kids out and play all day and not worry about and have them come in for supper or whatever, though, that doesn't
That's over.
exist anymore, right? So you don't have those services in place. And it's not just one thing. Like they may have people may have a mental health issue, a substance abuse issue. They're dealing with trauma from before, so it gets more complex. And then when you
Mhm.
kind of put it all together, you see these horrific acts that are happening. And
Yeah.
more, more and more of a reason to educate ourselves. And I don't use the word karate and I don't even use the word martial arts. It's to educate people of all ages and all walks of life to be aware
Yeah.
of what's going on, right? Situational awareness, we call it. So when I do these trainings, um, whether it be with kids going off to college, whether it be dealing with a real estate group of people going out at night or medical, after the horrific acts of 9/11, I did a lot of training with pilots and flight
Mhm.
attendants. It's it's so important that as a society, we get trained and
Mhm.
are vigilant of what is going on around us.
Yeah, and I think that a big problem that we have right now, and we said this off the air earlier, was like everyone's on their phone. They're
Ye
so you're so focused on where you need to be, what I'm doing next. Someone posted on this, someone left a comment here. You're just not paying attention. So
uh
you become a very easy target for people that want to hurt you because you're not paying attention. You're not going to fight back when you are startled by someone either coming up behind you or, assaulting you.
we were having a great conversation, and I often train people in being present. And the unfortunate thing of today, and it doesn't even have to be in the realm of self-defense, but like you just said, we are so distracted
Mhm.
and not 100% present in any specific task that we're doing,
Mhm.
right? So, as we were talking earlier, we have earbuds in, we're scrolling on the phone, we're walking through a crosswalk, our head is down, our hands are in our pocket. I mean, if you
Mhm.
want to talk about not being present for a number of different
Yeah.
reasons, I mean, we'll get to the violence in a second, but we're giving 20% to the person that we're talking on the phone. We're giving 20% of what we're scrolling.
Mhm.
We're giving 20% to ourselves walking. We're giving 20. So we're never giving 100% to one thing because we never do one thing at a time.
Mhm.
And even when we do one thing at a time, our brains are going, what do I have to do? I got to pick up the kids. I got to go over here. What am I going to make
I'm
for
so
dinner? What
guilty
am
of
I going to,
this.
but that's what we do. The multitaskers, right?
It's a blessing and a curse.
It's a blessing and a curse. And now you bring that into self defense. We talk about victimization. And a lot of the trainings that I do is how fear creates the victim. We are creating victimization ourselves. So by not being present.
Yeah.
So with the earbuds and the telephone and this, and then looking around or doing whatever, whether it's walking through a crosswalk and getting hit by a car, that's victimization. Whether we get someone comes up and attacks, it could be a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. And whether it takes your phone, takes your wallet, or God forbid, becomes a violent act. And we were talking about a lot of different things earlier, distraction. And we victimize ourselves by not taking some basic precautions.
Mhm.
We put ourselves in very harm's way.
I think that people now we live in a society where everything is so fast. Like, you have social media, you have this, you have people worrying about, can they pay their bills? Can they do this? They have to get their kids to sports. And I also think it's like a validation thing, right? So you have your kids in all these sports, they're doing good, they're posting the kids' pictures. Like, it's almost like just validating themselves when they could just not do that. And I'm guilty of this too.
We were all guilty of it.
I had a medium on my show one time.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, she's really cool, Spirit Tiff, and she said to me, "Your oldest daughter, what she needs you to do is you just need to focus on her. 1 hour.
Be present.
Put it all down." And she was being like, she's been a little jerk for a long time. And she goes, "Alexis, just try it. 1 hour a day. Just like shut your phone off." And I almost felt really terrible that I wasn't already doing that
Yeah, but
as a mom. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't already like giving them my attention.
think about it, right? We're business people,
Yeah.
right? So I do the same thing. You're like, oh, I got to get this out. I got to return this call. I got to post this on social media. Oh, someone made a comment. Someone wants to enroll. Someone and all of this stuff. And we're adults and
Yeah.
we're parents and we're affected by it,
Yeah.
right? So can you imagine kids
Just seeing it.
and vulnerable kids, or maybe kids that haven't been afforded what you and I have been afforded,
Hmm.
what that social media does for them, that instant gratification.
Yeah.
How many clicks did I get? How many likes did I get? How many followers did I get? Do I pay to get more followers? It's that instant gratification that is affecting our youth.
Well, I also think that before, like when I was a kid, my mom was a business person, so
Sure.
she was around, but there was times that she wasn't.
Yeah.
And we're with my grandmother a lot, and she was like, you go outside and you come home when the lights are on and you go out and play.
Which is what I
We
mentioned
never
earlier.
like sat in front of a computer by any means. I mean, I remember like when my mom got the first computer at the house, it was like this giant thing.
Yeah, the big
And they had this like Barbie doll coloring thing where you could like click the
Yeah,
the color and click the dress and it would go, and you'd get bored because, okay, how many times can you color the same thing and whatever. I would rather play with my dolls, but kids now don't. They have this like obsession. Now, I don't let my kids have an iPad. It's not what we allow in my house, but
No.
my grandmother has one at my mother's. So when my kids go there, they're like glued. They think it's the coolest thing ever. They're like, "Oh my God." So I think a lot of that is just they're so focused. It just takes their focus off anything else.
It's the distraction again, right? And it all ties back to the distraction. And you and I are both not saying that technology is bad. Technology is where it's at,
Yeah,
but there has to be some boundaries, right?
exactly.
What, we're talking about AI now. We're talking about this. And, now you're writing papers with a click of a button. I mean, the evolution of
Mhm.
technology is huge, but the safeguards I feel are just not there yet.
Yeah, no.
you know and I see it with kids that we train, adults that we train, the ability to focus. I have not it's worse now than ever,
Mhm.
right? So, the emotional issues that the kids are having today, I didn't see before. Maybe
Mhm.
they just weren't diagnosed, maybe we didn't have the expertise. I get that, but there's just
But the way you teach is generally the same. So, like, how you were teaching, like, a 95 to now, maybe you have different skills, but they're still kids. They're still five-year-old kids. Do you know what I'm
right.
saying? So,
But
it's
it was
not
much
like
different,
yeah,
right?
now it's so
So
much different for other things. Like, they haven't changed necessarily, like, what they are. They're still five-year-old kids. It's just the situations that's just the tech and everything has changed. You know what I
yes
mean?
and no. So I opened my first program in 95. I started in the mid 70s, right? So when
Mhm.
I first started in the mid 70s, it was all males. It was all, whether it was adult males, teenage
Was that
males,
just because females didn't go and do
it
it?
just wasn't
A
it,
thing?
right? It was, this is a guy thing. We got to
Yeah.
fight and do this, right?
Yeah.
So we went through that. And then it kind of shifted where younger girls started coming in because people started to see, like parents started to see, like the benefits, right? Like, which I was alluding to earlier, of like, let's get the young girls. Now, by the way, now it's 50-50 in our program, boys,
Yeah,
girls,
there was a few girls there
tons,
yesterday
right?
when we were there.
Yeah, there's just so many. But the teaching, to answer your question, was still the same. You could be very structured, very disciplined, and in a lot of times it still is. But I do feel that the population is different, meaning there's a tremendous amount of issues that we deal with.
Mhm.
There is, and again, not to label medical things, but whether there's the evolution of ADD or ADHD or whatever we want to call it. I know we're stuck on terms, but
There's more of it.
there's more of it, it's more diagnosable, or is that a label? I don't know. I'm not a medical professional, but we're dealing with that. And there's so many kids that are on the spectrum, different parts of autism, right, going on, and other emotional issues and factors that you literally have to transform your curriculum to suit the needs of different people. Now, I'm not saying that the fabric of discipline, the fabric
Mhm.
of focus and teaching kids public speaking and doing all those things using self-defense as the vehicle, that hasn't changed. But there's more kids doing private lessons now. There's more adults doing private lessons. What is that? Why?
Do you find so in the 70s, let's just say you had a class of 10 kids, right? How many of those kids did you think had either an underlying diagnosis of whatever it could be, whether it's autism or ADHD? Back in the 70s, how many of those kids did you think have it?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know because the way that it was taught then, so I was a student, I'm still a student, we're a student for life, but I was just beginning. The instructor taught one way, it was hardcore. I don't know what the kids had, what they had, if they had, how they had. They just went,
And did it.
and that was it.
Well, I think a lot of people can say, and this is like a very controversial thing that I'm going to say here, is that between the time that you started teaching to now, the biggest thing that has changed medically is how many vaccinations kids get. So that's like a whole other topic we don't have to get into, but like, could it be that? Like, there's so many factors. Like, is that
Well,
why
you
kids
see,
are changing? Like,
right, and there's
you're still
all this.
teaching kids this whole time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Correct. There's
what's the
been a lot of
factor?
change. What the cause is, what the contributing factors are, I'm not sure, right?
Yeah.
Again, not being a medical professional. But I can tell you that the process of teaching the type of kids that we're seeing, which I'm glad,
Yeah.
because there's so many kids that are coming in now that they're not comfortable doing sports, or they're not comfortable doing something else, or the parents have tried 5 or 6 different things. They couldn't concentrate, and they finally found a home with us. And obviously, you know, like any other industry, there's good and bad programs. There's some that excel, there's some that don't, there's some that flourish. I'm happy to say that we're celebrating our 30-year anniversary of being in business.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, I'm so
Congratulations.
well, it's about the team, as you know, right? It's
Yeah.
all only as good as the people you have around you. But we've taught thousands and tens of thousands of kids, teens, adults throughout these last 30 years. And it has been an evolution. And you do have to change
How
how
you
you
teach.
teach. And there's some programs out there, unfortunately, that will say, like when COVID hit, right? Nobody expected, you know,
To
what
close.
is COVID? Businesses closing, 6 feet. Don't do this. You can't have that. You can only have so. I mean, what do you do? Within 2 days, we were on Zoom. We did not stop or skip a beat. But there were so many of my colleagues that said, "Hey, Paul, I'm not doing Zoom. That's not real karate. I'm going to wait till this thing gets over." Well, lo and behold, how long were we closed? How
Mhm.
long were we limited? How many kids could go in a class? And a lot of those people went out of business. So you have to adapt, you have to modify, and you have to change.
I'm gonna
That's
have you
the
push your mic literally right
Yeah,
in
yeah,
front of you.
yeah. This way?
If you take this elbow and you push it down,
Yep.
there you go, right in front of you.
So you have to change, you have to
That's
modify,
better.
you have to adapt. with the times, and that's just a fact. But a lot of people in any business are still stuck in that box
Mhm.
that I learned it this way, so I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I think that being adaptable is good. You have to when you're teaching. I mean, when I teach aesthetics and stuff,
yeah.
it's funny because I had a teacher come to Bloom to teach my girls a massage class, and she's like, massage can be boring. We're only gonna do half a day because you guys can't do a full day. Everyone was like, I'm tired. Da, da, da. When I learned, my mother was like, I don't care if you're tired. Like, I don't care. You're gonna sit through this class all day, and you're just gonna learn all day. And whether that was effective or not, I don't know, but that's how everyone learned with me. Like, there was no catering. There was no, like, my mom calls it coddling. She goes, I didn't coddle my students."
So that's exactly what we're both talking about.
Yeah.
So is it that now we're bringing parenting into it, right?
Mhm.
So
Well, you also have to deal with parents too.
I'm sorry?
You also have to deal with the parents of
Deal
these
with
kids, which
parents.
is
But
also
I've
really
seen
weird.
exactly what you're saying is that the parent child relationship, you could tell I was a psych major in college, right?
Yep.
Yeah. No, the parent child relationship has gone through an evolution too. And again,
Yes.
whether it's because of what we were just talking about, how kids are more fragile than
They're
before.
not. I don't agree that they are.
Yeah, I'm not saying they are, but you see, and I see, and I'm sure you as a parent see, that a lot of times the kid is running the household. The kid is saying, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And sure, you want to get input from your child, but at
Yeah.
the same time, you're the parent. You know what's best for the
I
child.
was scared of my parents.
You were scared.
Yes.
I was too,
Like, yeah.
right? So
If my
what's
grandmother
going
was like,
on?
"I'm gonna tell your mother you did this," I'd be like, "Shit.
My mother, God rest her soul, would give me a look and I would
Done."
freak out. My father was a different story, right? But yeah, so what's going on?
Well, I think there's a level of respect that's lost, right? I feel like that a lot of kids today don't respect their parents. I think that kids are coddled now because a lot of parents are caught up in being friends with their kids. I say
Yes.
this all the time. I love my kids, and they say all the time, "Mommy, you're my best friend." And I said, "I'm your best friend, but I'm your mom." Like,
But
I'm
what
not
changed that?
friends with my
But
children.
but what changed that?
I think people just want I think that a lot of them, and from this is just an assumption, grew up similar to me maybe, like, where their parents were like, "Okay," kind of the seen, not heard generation, but not really, like, we were I think I'm 31, so we were, like, at the end of that. I feel like that was a lot more prevalent, like, when my mom like, when you were
Yeah,
younger, it's like kids should be seen and not heard. But I think that, like, my mom was a business person. She was always on the go. She was always doing something. So I had to, like, do something to get her attention. Do you know what I mean?
mhm.
I think a lot of people that maybe have went through that, instead of taking it and saying, "Okay, like, I'm gonna go do something cool, like, peace out, don't really care," need that, like, they crave that validation.
Validation.
So they want their kids to validate their feelings. "Oh, I brought them to all these sports. I did a good deed. I did a good
Well,
job."
you know as well as I, as parents, it's
If I
not.
listened to my 4-year-old, I'd be giving her chocolate all day. I mean, you met my kids yesterday.
Yeah,
Like,
they're awesome.
they're crazy, but, like, they're not like, if I tell them, like, legit, like, "Hey, enough is enough. Like, let's figure it out." Like,
It's respect.
they know, like,
Right.
"Let's
So
go."
there's respect there, right? And that's what we try to instill with the kids all day, every day. We are trying to instill respect, the discipline, the structure, and obviously, self-defense is the key thing. But through that is the confidence
Yeah.
and the self-esteem and the self-worth. A lot of these kids don't feel like, they're getting their self-worth from from the phone
Yeah.
and the clicks like we just spoke about earlier. I want them to feel confident so when they're in school, they can do well and focus. So
Yeah.
when they get older and get a job, that they can function properly in society.
I don't think that we have classes that are like that, that teach them life skills.
It's life skills. So that's why when parents call and they say, "Oh, what type of karate do you teach?" And blah. I get it. However, we're a life skills program. I use self defense as the vehicle to teach life skills.
Do you ever tell parents not so when I used to my sister did cheerleading, I was a figure skater.
Oh,
A
cool.
lot of the coaches would never now you have like a little observatory area and parents can sit. Now I understand for the little kids like my kids to get them to go do it when at first like parents should be there. But do you ever ask parents not to be there because the kids perform better without their parents being there?
Yeah, so every child is different, like we said. And it can be a distraction when parents are there. But as you found out yesterday, is that, and this goes back to how you have to change, adapt, and whatever. Because when I was going, you couldn't, parents weren't allowed.
When I did karate when I was a kid, my dad dropped us off and the
Pick,
sensei was like, "Yep, see you
see you
later."
later.
And then he was like, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "Okay."
And you're done, right? So a lot of times, parents want to see what their kids are doing. We want the parents to say, like,
Yeah.
to show them or whatever. But every child is different. So some kids and parents drop off pickup, some come. It was important that you be there yesterday when
Yeah,
you
it was their
brought the
first
two
one.
kids, first class, bring them in, but you got to be adaptable. And that's why I said it's some programs, and this is not speaking ill will or whatever, but everybody does it differently. You have to look at the child as the individual. You have to
Mhm.
look at the teenager as the individual, and then that parent-child relationship. So it's so important for me to build a community and a
Mhm.
family atmosphere, and I call it our martial arts family because it's so much more than just a class. It's a
Yeah.
community. We have programming, we have theme nights, we have birthday parties, we have special events, we do
Oh, I heard all
tournaments.
about the Halloween party. I
We got
am
Fright Night coming up, right? So we do them. We want the parents to be able to be part of something bigger and not just,
yeah.
hey, I'm taking my kid to karate. Drop them off.
Yeah.
See you later.
It should be a community though. I feel like these kids
And we need it.
yeah, I feel like, when they're little and you can correct me if I'm wrong, like yesterday when they were doing it, it was about like they were so excited that they could just like kick. They were so excited. And then they saw other kids kick and they were like, "That's so cool. I'm going to do it harder." And it was like a cool confidence building thing and that just seeing them they were running around half the time, but like they loved it.
Right. And so with kids with that age, and again, this is like how every child is different. We're dealing with a different age group, right?
Mhm.
So the way that you deal with a 3.5-year-old is different than you're going to be dealing with a 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old.
Yeah.
So the attention span's got to be different.
Yeah.
The disguised repetition of, like putting them on a bag that it's their boat,
Oh, heard all about it.
confusing them, but they're doing it
Yeah.
and they're punching and they're kicking, excuse me. And you got to just change it up,
Mhm.
right? It's the same thing, but you got to change it up, you know?
I think the confidence is what kids need now. I don't
Huge.
think that a lot of these kids are confident in anything. My kids now you saw they did what you like they tried to do what you asked them to do.
They did
But
great.
my daughter has a very hard time making friends.
Making friends.
Very hard time. And she feels like she gets really upset when people don't want to be her friend. So, for example, we'll go to a park or whatever, and a lot of kids bring iPads to parks. I never really understood that one, but whatever. And my Olivia has her famous line. She goes up to them and she's like, "Hi, I'm Olivia." And then when they ignore her and they say, "Well, we don't want to play," she goes, "Well, I have chickens." And she tries to like bring up something cool to talk to them about, but these kids don't relate to her. So that's why I thought karate would be a cool thing for her to just like be with herself and feel confident with herself
And that's
and not need to go up to someone and say, I mean, she doesn't need it. She plays on her own anyway, but not need to like have that front, like feel like it's a bad thing that that person didn't talk to her.
right. And you just hit it on the head. It's the confidence. And, even in that short term period yesterday, where there was running around and there was fooling around, there was joking, there was behaving, there was misbehaving, there was whatever. You saw the gradual progression,
Yeah.
even with the little boy, right? The gradual progression from flopping on the floor to now throwing out punches, throwing out kicks, and it's only for a short period of time, but that's the nugget. That's great.
Yeah.
So now the next class, we build this. And so we focus, they're going to go off the rails a little, and it's up to us to bring them back in. But confidence is key because, like you said, the society of children sometimes the coping skills. Kids can be mean,
Oh,
right?
they can.
So whether it's bullying, whether it's saying
Mhm.
nasty things, whether it's ganging up, kids don't have the tools, the
Mhm.
skill set to be able to either speak up, go tell someone that they need to
Yeah.
tell, the principal, the teacher, or whomever, the coach,
Yeah.
or just simply go,
I think a lot of kids now are overly sensitive, but that's just my
a lot
take on
of
it.
them, right? So again, all these
Like, they're
things,
overly sensitive. Like, my kids, like, sometimes once in a while, but no. They're like,
it's
someone will say something, they'll be like, "Oh, that's cool." And they like, walk. I mean, Sophia's 3, and she's just like a
well, she's 3
she's
going,
Tasmanian devil.
yeah, going on 23. But again, it's the skill set. They don't feel comfortable in their own skin. They don't feel confident. They're pleasers. Oh, if I say that, that's going to be a problem. That's what we want to do. We want to help
Mhm.
as many people to be the best that they can be. And it's not going to be like, oh, well, this one's flying through the air. Well, they're never going to fly through the air. But compare yourself to you. Are you better today than you were yesterday? Did you learn a new skill? Is your 3-year-old asking for a pool noodle different than before they came to class, right? So it's those subtle, incremental
Changes,
gains
yeah.
and changes that become monumental later. And what I am so proud of is 95% of my staff have been with me since day one. I have
That's
kids that
awesome. I
started
was
at,
gonna ask your retention rate.
yeah, I have kids that started with me at 3 years old who are now head instructors, who are now chemists and biophysicists and teach and are still there, because the beauty of what we do, it's not something that you start and stop. It's a lifelong
It's a
passion.
lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. It's a martial arts lifestyle, right? You can come back to it, you can
Mhm.
leave, you can go to college. I the young man that I'm thinking of right now was off to college. We did Zoom classes every single week for
That's
those
awesome.
4 years while he was in college in New York, right? So that's the beauty of what we do.
Mhm.
You can never I got a call, I got an email last night and said, do you do classes for senior citizens, right? And that's
That's so cute.
it was cute, but it was also sad because I said, geez, I didn't do a good enough job to get it out there that this is for everybody.
Yeah.
Kids, teens, adults, seniors, whatever. We did a historic Linfield event this past weekend, and we had a senior citizen. So we have a class at the North Reading Senior Center.
Oh, do you
Yeah.
really? Oh my god, I gotta bring my grandmother.
Oh,
She would love it.
absolutely. And they requested to the instructor, can we do part? I'll send you the video. Do part of a demo. There was 7 or 8 of these seniors,
That's
right, of
awesome.
all ages that did a demonstration that broke boards.
That's cool.
Awesome, right?
That's
Awesome.
so
So when
cute.
this woman emailed me, I got right back to her. I go, "Oh my God, please!" And she set up for a
I
class to
think it's
come in
tonight. You
after.
should have a table at the senior prom. It's like the senior citizen prom of North Reading. It's at the Hillview.
Get out.
Yeah, they do like a prom for all the seniors and they all dress up
Love to.
and they do like a
See,
little
and that's what my mission is now.
Mhm.
Now that my time is now dedicated, and my focus is this. I want to reach the masses. I want to.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter if they stay for 2 months or they stay for the next 20 years. I want people to experience the benefits, the changes physically,
Mhm.
emotionally, spiritually of what we do, because again, the benefits are immeasurable.
Well, I think
Immeasurable.
in today's world, like we said earlier before we got on, as it's we're in so many situations where you may not have a weapon on you or anything. Having the skills to be able to defend yourself, especially as I think a female, because I think most of the time people expect guys just to be the ones to fight back. I think that it needs to be pushed to females more. Like I think girls are scared. A lot of women are scared. They're like, "Oh, I'm not going to do that. What if I don't do a good job?" Like, who
Exactly.
cares if
So
you
I
get I think
take,
they're scared to get punched. I feel like I'm, like, the opposite, like, go ahead.
and you know what? I agree. And you know what I love is that 3 of our main instructors are females, right?
That's
And I
awesome.
think, and when I mentioned to you earlier, it's about girl power. We are just the girls, the females, the instructors. They're just awesome. The team is
Do you
amazing.
find when students that sometimes the female students are better than the male students? 'Cause they're
Absolutely.
probably more focused than the boys are?
Absolutely. And you would be surprised. You would think like, so when I told you when I first began in the 70s, it was all males, it was a male instructor, there was this,
Yeah.
right? You would be surprised how many male adult students take to the female instructors, right? You'd say like, oh,
Yeah, I'd be
right?
like,
Would you
"Oh,
think
can't
that?
she can she
No,
handle herself?"
right. Exactly. And it's the opposite, right? So getting back to what we were talking about, it's confidence. And now if we're talking about adults and we talk about teaching adults to feel confident in basic life skills, situational awareness, having the confidence to say, hey, yeah, I'm not going to fly through the air again, to use that analogy, but I have some basic
Mhm.
knowledge, training. There's no substitute for training, right? I tell everybody, especially with the kids, there's two things that you have to do in life.
Mhm.
You have to learn how to save your life swimming,
Yep.
and you have to be able to save your life through self-defense. You have to do self-defense and you have to do swimming. I told my kids. And then anything else you want to do, any sport, any
Yeah.
activity
It's
is
all
great, but you need to do that, right? So it's so imperative that we teach all ages, all walks of life, basic self-defense, life-saving skills. Because as we said earlier, 90% of this can be avoided,
Oh, yeah.
right? 90%. And it's by making choices of
Mhm.
where we go, of where we park our cars at night, whether we're
Mhm.
leaving a hospital, a restaurant, a function. Is it near the elevator? Is it near the stairwell? Have we looked to see who was around before we left?
Mhm.
We were talking earlier about one individual that we were speaking to who had a friend who was in a difficult situation at an establishment. Why would you leave without knowing who you were leaving with? Right? It's those
Yes.
choices that we make, and I'm not saying that
I think
we're
everyone's made those choices, and a
100%.
lot of the times
I've made
alcohol is
thousands.
involved with
So
those
now we go
too.
back, right? So we look at contributing factors.
Mhm.
If you're going to have alcohol, make sure that your friends have your whereabouts on their
Yeah.
phones. If you know, if you're going to do this, make sure there's that. I'm not saying that, live this life of, being a robot. We don't want to create
No,
robots.
but I also think, like, people aren't aware. Like, I'm always aware of who's, like, behind me. That's
Oh,
like a it's a
I think you are aware. I can.
it's very weird. Like, I'm always like, "Oh," or I'll call my husband, I'm like, "Hey, I saw this really creepy guy today." And he was like, "Where was he?" And I was like he, like, makes me tell him, like, the whole thing, and he's like, "Yeah, you gotta watch out, like, you got the kids with you." Or if I go, we actually went to I'm not gonna say what store it is 'cause I don't want
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
to
yeah.
happen, but we were in close to our house at a grocery store, and these 2 people were literally following me and my kids. I went all over the store. And I did it on purpose. I was like, "Why would you ever go from, like, toilet paper to the baby section twice in one time?"
Because you were present, right?
So I was like, "All right, let's" and at first, I was on the phone and I had the kids, and I was, like,
Mm.
putting around, not noticing, and all of a sudden, I'm like, "Hmm." And, my daughter, Olivia, my oldest one, she goes, "Mom, why is that guy following us?" And I go, "Don't worry about it." And she goes, "Really?" I go, "Don't worry about it." She goes, "Okay." And then we went back to the baby section. She goes, "He doesn't have a baby with him." And I was like, "All right, well, now my 4-year-old
The
knows what's going."
4-year-old saying this,
She's
that's huge, but the
but
parenting that you and your husband are
but like,
doing,
am I paranoid? You know what I mean? Like, is it just me being but I would
I'd
rather
rather.
myself be paranoid. And when I got to I kid you not, I got to the register and I told the lady and the manager was right there 'cause I had to do a stupid price check. And I said, "The guy that's 2 people behind me has followed me and my kids around this entire store. I've been in here for 45 minutes. I came in here for 2 things." I go, "Literally followed me entire through the store. Can you just watch me walk out?" And the manager goes, "Yeah, I'll walk you out. I'll help you put the" I bought a TV. He goes, "I'll help you put the TV in the car." And my first thought was probably wanted the TV. I was like, Guy probably wants the
You
TV.
don't know.
But you don't know.
You
He
don't.
puts it in my car. The guy literally walks directly behind me and my kids and the manager the whole time he got to my car and waited. And I asked him if he could wait so I could put it in my car and I could leave. The second the guy walked off, he started walking towards my car. I backed up and went off.
But
I was
see,
like, what are you doing? Took 4 pictures of him though. I
by
was like,
you being aware, by you being cognizant of
yeah.
what was going
It
on,
could be nothing.
maybe.
It could have been.
Good. Well, what'd you lose? You could have saved your own life
Yeah.
and your children's life from God
Who
knows
knows
God
what?
knows what. You were present, you were confident, you were watchful, you were vigilant.
And I think the scary thing that is it was 5 minutes from my house. The store is 5 minutes from my house. I think a lot of people see this stuff online and they go, "Oh, that's never gonna happen to me." It's not that's not the case. You
It's
could
not.
literally go to the gas station and something happened to you.
Quick little sidestep.
Yeah,
My
it's fine.
daughter was out of state for a spring break when she was in college years back, right?
Mhm.
She and a girlfriend walk across the street from the hotel to a convenience store.
Mhm.
As they're walking across the street, a car of males pulls up to them and says, "Hey, you want a ride?" She ignores them. They walk into the store. They go into the convenience store. The 4 guys, 3 or 4 guys that were in the car are in the convenience store. So now they're walking around. They're walking around. No one's buying anything, just like you said.
Yeah.
Now, my daughter says and gives the girlfriend a look like something's going on.
Yeah.
Her other friends now come in the school, in the store, and she's trying to get their attention to tell them what's going on. And they're going, "What are you doing?" Just no idea.
Yeah.
No idea what's going on, right? Bunch of, she said college football players or whatever came in. She walked up to one of them. She said, "Hey, these guys are following us. Can you please walk us back to across the street?" I said, "Oh, yeah, absolutely." They go, leave the store. She looks around the corner in the dark alley, lights off, the car's waiting
Mhm.
for them to come out of the store, right? And this is not kudos to my daughter, but having knowledge and being trained
Mhm.
in situational awareness since she was 3.5,
Oh, yeah.
and being able and confident to recognize that saved her and her friends' lives. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. We need to educate as many people as possible on basic life skills.
That's what we need. And you went from now you have 2 locations. You did have
Yeah.
more. You sold your others.
So I had 6 at one point. I closed
That's
one.
amazing.
Yeah,
6
yeah,
studios. That's a lot of work.
yeah. And what happens is, it's great. Like as young entrepreneurs, we think more is better.
No.
Right? And then you realize that's more staff, that's more people to complain, that's more problems, more headaches.
parents.
So yeah, so I closed one location, like I said, I ended up opening 5 after that, and I sold, but they're affiliate programs. They're still the same name, and I basically now am in charge of the Linfield location and the North Reading location.
Nice.
Yeah. But we do everything together. We do our tournaments together. We do our functions together. We do our black belt exams together. So the 5 schools are closely knit, and they're all my own instructors that took over.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long does it take to go from like a white is it you start at white and
Yeah.
you get to black? How does that look?
That's the
Is that $1 million question?
$1 million question.
Well, I
with
know
the-
it's dependent on you, but like how often how does that usually work for time in? I mean, like for me, like I was a figure skater. I started at 4, and then like I went
So-
to I got to like a national like type level.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So everybody thinks that the black belt is the answer, and the black belt is the beginning, unfortunately or fortunately, because that's when the knowledge gets taken to another level. So not to undermine all of those ranks and trainings, you're going to learn so much,
Yeah.
but this is a very formalized curriculum that I developed, right? With the help of other systems and teachers and whatever. I kind of blended different systems together and took pieces that I thought were the most practical, right? That were developed by others and then changed and modified by myself. So it's very detailed. It's very there's more than just a physical part. There's a historical, philosophical
Mhm.
part to it. It's all encompassing. So long story short, it depends on, like you said, some people may come once a week because their lives are crazy. Some people come 3, 4, 5 times a week. Some people
Mhm.
do 3, 4, 5 times a week in private lessons. Some people
Mhm.
come 3, 4 times a week and then practice every
But there's
day.
levels after black belt, right?
Yeah,
Like,
so
it's
black
like
belt is the beginning. We call it the master of basics. You have mastered the basic understanding and the mechanics of the curriculum.
okay,
Beginner. Now we're beginner black. We start over. And then there's degrees of black up through
gotcha.
10, 1 through 10.
Nice. When did you get to your 10?
I got to my 10th approximately 10 years ago. So you have to, so 8th, ninth, and 10th are more honorary degrees based on what you've done, what you've accomplished,
Gotcha.
your teaching methodology, what you've done and contributed to society, those type of things, right? So I like to look at those as, hey, this person has given back, this person has made a difference, and then get awarded the honorary
Mhm.
degrees. So, but at first degree level black, and that's the biggest mistake and misnomer too that I think we don't do a good job on is you'll see people go, I got my black belt, I'm done.
Well, that's my nephew.
And then they quit.
Yep.
And you're like, what?
He's like, I got my he's 10,
I'm done.
which I also don't think it's
It's
realistic.
difficult. So back to the immediate gratification, right?
Are
Is
you pushing these kids through just to give them belts to, like,
right,
make them feel good?
right. So then we had to develop a junior black belt program, right? Because kids would start at 3 years old
Mhm.
and now they're 11
And
and
then
they're 8. 8 years. They've been doing this for 8 years. And they're like, well, like, because we only give adult black belts starting at 16.
oh, okay.
But then you have, like I said, kids that start at 3. What do you do for them? So we developed a junior black belt program so
Okay.
they can get their junior
I
black
didn't know this.
belt.
This is actually really interesting.
It's it's evolved. This is an
Yeah.
evolution. Like some styles and some countries would say, no, we go from white to black. There's only 2 belts. Some people go, we don't give belts. Like Kung Fu styles will give sashes, different colored sashes,
Yeah.
right? So every style system teacher is different. Um,
Have you traveled international for karate?
I haven't traveled internationally, although I've had so many opportunities to go to Japan with my prior instructor and never did. And I'm just regret it so much because now
Is
he's
that
deceased.
it's Japanese is the base of karate, I feel like, or was it
Yeah,
Chinese?
Kempo. So, it's an infiltration
That's what I thought because I looked it up before I
yeah,
talked to you, but
because
I didn't
you,
wanna be wrong.
yeah, no, it's not right or wrong. It's just that, like people would start in India and then go to Japan, and then those parents traveled over to China, and then the China went to the Okinawa, and then we went back to
Yeah.
it's a hybrid.
Is
And
there,
then
like, a birthplace of it, though?
so the style of Kempo karate that is the backbone of the system that I have actually um, while it was from a Japanese family, they were in Hawaii.
Oh,
Yeah. So
interesting.
Hawaii is really um, birthplace is not the right word, but really a huge cultivation ground for the style that the backbone style of Kempo that I teach, because a lot of people were in the war
Mhm.
and stationed in Hawaii. You'll
Gotcha.
see a large Japanese
Yeah.
population. You'd see a large Filipino
Mhm.
population. And so I had some great privileged over the last 7 or 8 years to run international events
That's cool.
where I would have people from all over the world come. And the Hawaiian folk were, and I'm still very close with them now,
Mhm.
um, who were in their 80s,
Still doing it.
still doing it, still teaching it, and still working a regular job.
80
It's
years old.
yeah,
But I think it gives you a bit more physical ability.
physical and spiritual. It's a life. We talk about it. It's a lifestyle. It really is. And not everybody is cut out to have it as a lifestyle. Like I said, I'm going on another 6 months, my 50th year. People go, "What are you, out of your mind?" Right? You
That's
started at 12. I'm
amazing.
62. I've been doing this 50 years, and I'm not stopping until I'm dead. And then I'll
Yeah.
probably do it up there too, right? It's like, this is my way of life. This is my ground. This is what keeps me grounded. So
Mhm.
honestly, I would have never been able to fly through Malden Catholic, to
Mhm.
fly through Boston College, to fly through law school while working a full-time job. I
Mhm.
really attribute it to my training, to my teachers, my
Mhm.
training, the grit, the way to balance your time. Time management is key.
Huge.
And those are the things that I want to give back to society today.
I love that. If there's one thing, I always like to wrap up the show with,
Yep.
if there's one thing that you could give advice for either kids or adults. I mean, I guess you kind of said it, but like your one pearl of advice with
My
everything that
one
you have between like your
Yeah, like, I think one peril of life is education, and whatever that means to you, knowledge. Knowledge is power, and whether it's you learning a craft, or
yeah.
learning a business model, or learning how to defend yourself. There is no substitute for knowledge. Nobody can take it away from you.
Mhm.
And then when you have knowledge, it builds, right? It
Yeah.
replicates, it's a domino effect. And we need to teach our youth those principles and those values to make this world a better place.
I love that. So where's your studio? What's the name of
So
your
the
studio?
headquarters is Cervizzi's Martial Arts. The headquarters is in North Reading on 6 Washington Street. We had a tragic fire incident happen to our Linfield location
Oh
of
gosh.
23 years. 2 years ago, a strip mall where we were located in Linfield burned down.
Oh my gosh.
So we immediately had to pivot.
Mhm.
So we're currently in the at 5 Summer Street at the church, where Tower Day is, the
Okay.
Center Congregational Church. They've been so kind to us, so we're there full speed ahead, 6 days a week. So you can reach us there too. Our website is cervizzismartialarts.com,
Love it.
and anybody can reach out to me. My cell number and email is right on the front of that website.
And
Just give me
we'll put your thing on the banner too.
Awesome. This was an honor,
Yeah.
a pleasure, and thank you so much for allowing me to try to make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, if I can help a little bit, then that's all,
That's all,
right?
right? If everybody did a little bit,
That's all I
the
need.
world would be a much better place.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Guys, please check us out with Lately with Lex on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, all the things, Apple Podcasts. Um, we drop on Monday at 6 a.m. So see you guys then.